Hey, a good dinner of Shabbos. I hope you're all doing well. First, I wanted to say l'chaim to all of you. Wish you all a good Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol na'im b'dvarim. L'chaim. So I saw in the news today, Prime Minister Bennett, he's Shomer Shabbat. And unless there's a life in danger, he won't travel on Shabbat. Well, today in the morning, he had a meeting set with Vladimir Putin in Sochi, in his vacation home in Russia. And the meeting was supposed to be finished by 10 a.m., at which Russia time, which is the same as Israel, at which point Prime Minister Bennett was supposed to fly back to Israel to make it back in time for Shabbos. But the meeting went so good, it took 5 hours, and then they traveled along the water at his vacation resort, that he got stuck in Sochi for Shabbos, and him and his entourage couldn't fly back before Shabbos, so they stayed in Sochi for Shabbos, which is not too bad. The weather's gorgeous, it's a lovely resort town, and there's Chabad in Sochi, so you're safe. You'll be kosher food, you'll have what to eat, you'll have what to drink, you'll have a minyan, whatever you want. It's not too bad in Boston either this Shabbat. Gorgeous weather. Getting ready to celebrate another lovely Shabbat. So this week's Torah portion, we read about Lot's wife. When God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife gets warned. And Lot, don't look back. God's saving you because you're Abraham's nephew and your wife. But don't look back and don't watch the destruction. And of course, Lot's wife can't hold back her temptation. She looks back and she turns into a pillar of salt. And some people say when you go near the Dead Sea now, there's a place where it looks like there's a form of a pillar of salt, and some people say that that is Lot's wife. We don't know that for sure, but there is no question that the Talmud discusses what blessing you say if you see the pillar of salt of Lot's wife. So definitely at a certain point in time, you were able to see it in Israel. If that's what it is now near the Dead Sea, I can't tell you for sure. But the question is, what did she do wrong by looking back? Well, big deal. She looked back. And why would she turn into a pillar of salt? If God wanted to punish her, why specifically like a pillar of salt? There's many interpretations. The rabbis discussed this at length. But I wanted to give you something spiritual and something that can maybe work with our own day-to-day life and how we deal with our struggles, with our psyche, with our holdbacks. And the rabbis say like this: salt is delicious if you have it in your food. You ever have chicken soup that doesn't have salt? You're always putting in a little salt. For all foods, salt adds a tremendous flavor. But imagine if you only eat salt. You can't bear it. It's disgusting. If someone puts in too much salt into your food, it's not going to be tasty. The rabbis say salt represents the negative, the imperfections, the mistakes, the challenges, the struggles in our life. When you move ahead and forge forward, you always think about the mistakes and the challenges you make. The rabbis warn you. The Torah tells Lot's wife, don't look back. You want to remember that you made a mistake and learn from it and become a better person, fine. But don't wallow in your misery, in your sorrow. You never look back. You always look forward. You learn from your mistakes. You become a better person. But the moment you look back and you keep on wallowing in your guilt and what did I do and all the challenges and all the struggles and all the mistakes, then there's no way forward to become a better person, to become a better human being. So the Torah tells you, don't look back. Yes, you take a little salt, you remember a little bit what you did, you learn from your mistakes, you become a better person, but to look back, why would you do that? When you wallow in it, you can't taste it. You can't move forward. You're hijacked by your past. You have no chance of becoming a better person. This week, I was taking a drive with a lovely woman. Gurney and she was driving us to show us something. And she says, my dad always told me, never be scared of the people behind you. Always look forward. That's the message of life. The Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, the story goes that every week they made him cholent. Cholent is the food that we eat on Shabbos day. It's potatoes and it's meat and it's beans and all these different flavors. And one week he had guests and they gave him cholent and all the guests and no one touched their plate. And the Alter Rebbe finished his whole cholent. And they were wondering why no one else touched it. And later on they found that when it came to making the cholent, everyone started saying, oh, maybe I forgot to put the salt. So the cook put in the salt. The Alter Rebbe's wife put in the salt. His daughter put in the salt. Everyone kept on adding salt, thinking that no one put in salt. And how's the cholent going to taste without salt? Till by the time they finished, there was so much salt, it was inedible. But the Alter Rebbe, because he didn't want to embarrass them, even though it was so much salt and the taste was terrible, he ate it anyways. What's the message? It's good to have a little bit of salt. It's good to remember our challenges, our imperfections, our mistakes of the past. We have to march forward. We're going into Shabbos now. Shabbos is a time of love, of joy, of happiness. May God bless each and every one of us to have a good Shabbos. May it be a beautiful Shabbos. May we enjoy the flavors of Shabbos, the little bit of salt we do have, and may we celebrate the beauty and the gift that Hashem has given us. Good Shabbos.